Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here this morning, and thank you for all of the work that you and everyone at the Department of Homeland Security is doing in these challenging times. Everywhere I go, and I saw a report on the news this morning that we have about 2 jobs for every worker in the United States who's interested in working right now, who's unemployed. And there is a connection, I believe, between the most restrictive immigration policies, in my memory, that we've had for the last 5 years and our ability to get the workforce that we need, which is critical if we're going to continue to be competitive and have a strong economy. One of those areas of immigration that we have businesses in New Hampshire that rely on is the H-2B visa program. And I very much appreciated, the administration's decision to provide 35,000 additional visas for the second half of fiscal year 2022. But I'm really concerned that despite having this announcement a month ago, these visas still have not been made available. And so we have employers who are looking for seasonal work in particular, looking at the season coming up. They don't know if they're going to have their visa workers, and for many businesses, these are workers who have come back year after year. They're not planning to stay in the United States. They don't take jobs away from other people who want them. And how do we move this along? Why has the administration taken so long to release these additional visas?
Senator Shaheen, thank you very much for your question about the H-2B program. We have actually moved with lightning speed in the promulgation of the regulation to issue 35,000 new visas in the second half of this fiscal year. That regulation is with OIRA now, and we expect it to become public within the next 2 weeks. We have actually moved as quickly as possible, and we have an extraordinary workforce dedicated to promulgating regulations as quickly as possible. Fundamentally, if I may, Senator Shaheen, here's another example of a dire need to fix our broken immigration system, including the H-2B program.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's a disaster, and it needs fixing, and it needs bipartisan support to do that. I would just point out, though, it was my understanding that the visas were intended for employees to begin work on April the 1st, and we are way past that at this point. So for those employers who are calling our office saying, what's going on, where are our employees, what can we tell them that they can expect?
We expect the rule to issue within the next 2 weeks, Senator, and I will...
And what does that mean in terms of the ability of people to get here on the ground?
I will follow up with your office, Senator, to get you precise information so that the employers in your jurisdiction, in your state, have the certainty that they need to make their business plans.
Thank you very much. Our season starts Memorial Day, so we don't have a lot of time. One of the other concerns that I have is the continuing challenge of the opioid epidemic, which now is, as we know, much broader than opioids. It includes meth and other drugs, but fentanyl is the big killer that we're still seeing. And I know that you have included in your budget a plan to add additional screening of trucks coming across the border. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what we can do to ensure that we're doing everything possible to interdict that fentanyl and other drugs that are such a scourge on our population?
Senator, the majority of drugs that are sought to be trafficked into the United States are sought to be trafficked into the United States through the ports of entry. There is miscommunication with respect to that undeniable fact. The effort is not focused in between the ports of entry, but rather at the ports of entry. And we have intensified our use of technology, non-intrusive inspection technology, to identify when drugs are sought to be trafficked through the ports of entry. And we have a really unique effort underway that we are also intensifying forward operating laboratories so that we have the ability not only to detect, but to also analyze and identify controlled substances and interdict them. Our interdiction numbers are exponentially higher than they were in the prior 4 years. And
can that non-intrusive screening detect fentanyl, which is, can be in such small tablets, in any place in a vehicle that's
it is remarkable in its capabilities, and quite frankly, I was in Miami, Florida, but a few weeks ago, seeing it in action, and I, of course, traveled to the border 8 or 9 times during my 14-month tenure, and have seen it operating in other ports of entry along the southern border, and its detection capabilities are really remarkable. And I must say, so is the expertise of the Customs and Border Protection personnel who operate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.